Привет, comrade. ¿Cómo estás? I don't know Russian, I just know English and Spanish. Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today, we're going to be talking about Marxist Leninism. And this is the first video in a series. I've never done this before, where we're going to try and cover every single version of socialism that has existed in like the real world. And yeah, you can say this happened and technically this, but we're going to be kind of broad with our definition and just try and get basically the history of socialism out of the way. And we can do a supercut once all the videos are out. But anyways, let's talk about Marxist Leninism. I ignore the Danish flag, it's the only red one I had. So Marxism-Leninism, of course, starts with Karl Marx, a 19th century German philosopher and economist who saw history as a constant struggle between classes. His big idea, that capitalism, like feudalism before it, would collapse under its own weight, leading to a workers' revolution. Marx predicted that the proletariat, the working class, would eventually rise up, overthrow the bourgeoisie, seize the means of production, and build a classless, stateless society, communism, or socialism. Marxist-Leninism is really where the term communist kind of evolved from in the popular geist, but Marx wanted this would happen naturally in a very capitalist place like Britain or his homeland Germany, and definitely not like a small poor place like Russia. I can't deal with this helmet anymore. So, Lenin's twist. Fast forward to early 1900s Russia, not industrialized, still ruled by a czar, and boiling with unrest, entered Vladimir Lenin. Lenin read Marxist, and he knew Russia wasn't ready for the spontaneous revolution. His solution was called a vanguard party, a small elite group of committed revolutionaries who would lead the working class even if workers weren't yet class conscious. So this is where Marxism-Leninism begins. Not just a theory, but an actual thing that happened in society, a planned revolution in the real world, and not just a theory that a lot of socialist and communist ideologies become. So, of course, this vanguard party's formed, and they overthrew the government, and they withdraw from World War I because the Bolsheviks seized power. And here's where the first core belief takes shape. A dictatorship of the proletariat must suppress the old ruling class and begin building socialism. In practice, that means a one-party state with, no freedom of the press and secret police and land seizures, because you don't want the old ruling class to rise up again. You gotta have the proletariat, the workers, the people who want this to happen. Now, another good thing was the democratic centralism, a Leninist idea that party members could debate internally, but once a decision was made, everyone had to be on board. Everyone needed to follow it to the letter. This kept the revolution organized and fast-moving, but also made disagreement kind of dangerous, especially with the secret police. Power began concentrating in the party, and the party began concentrating in one man. This one man became, that's right, the guy it's named after, Joseph Stalin. Wait. So Stalin had a key influence in Marxism-Leninism, because he just kept the name with it. But after Lenin's death in 1924, Joseph Stalin took control. He built onto Marxism-Leninism, but twisted it into something more centralized and intense. Rapid industrialization, the 5-year plan, collectivized farms, and total control over education, art, and the economy. Under Stalin, the Soviet Union became a superpower, but at the cost of purges, gulags, and millions of deaths. Marxism-Leninism now meant not just revolution, but total state planning enforced by repression. So, a quick recap, real quick, is history is a class struggle, workers versus capitalists. A revolution must overthrow the capitalist state. A vanguard party must guide these workers. And then the dictatorship of the proletariat must suppress opposition. The state must control production until utopian socialism is possible. And the goal is still a stateless, classless world. Eventually. But in practice, this eventually kept on being delayed a little bit more and a little bit more, and the state only gets stronger. So, of course, after World War II, it spreads across Eastern Europe, and later into places like China, Africa, South America. And this is where we're going to end today's video with this version of Marxism-Leninism, because of course after Stalin, Khrushchev came in, gave a bit of reforms, and Brezhnev gave a bit more and said, actually, no, we're going to go back, and that was the era of stagnation, and then Gorbachev gave a lot of reforms, but basically, this is the base. This is the base model that socialism or communism took up in the world to kind of expand and grow. So after this, people either went harder and that became communism, or people went a bit lighter and that became socialism. So we're going to be covering more of the socialism part in the next videos. But yeah, hope y'all liked and enjoyed it. Marxism, Leninism, promise a world without poverty. But was it path of justice or just a new kind of oppression? Well, we'll let the comments take care about that. I know this is a really sensitive topic for a lot of people, so let's be friendly in the comments, alright guys? I'm just trying to have fun here and explain it to the basics. Anyways, bye!